Hi, Jill. Thank you for this connection. It's a Sunday. It's the 1st of May, and we will show this interview in next week on Saturday 7th to the big dinner in favor of Animals Asia in Settignano, Firenze, Florence, Italy, and I would like you to say hi to all the people who are going to come and have a benefit dinner for you in favor of Animals Asia.
Oh, love to. Bless you all. Hello, Italy. Just so nice to talk with you, and we're so grateful for everything you're doing to help us here in sunny Chengdu, and of course at our sanctuary in Vietnam. We absolutely love all your help and your faith and your support, and we couldn't be doing it without you. So bless you all and thank you.
Okay, we are glad to support Animals Asia in this week where so many different benefit events are all together packed for a special occasion for you to get resources to help more bears to get free. I know you have organized this week especially for the benefit things. Why this week? Is there a particular week in the year for you?
Oh, this is Bear Hug Week that you mean. Yes, coming up from the 2nd, from tomorrow, in fact. It just seems like, a really nice opportunity at the beginning of May when people are feeling brighter, spring is here and the weather is nice, and just to ask people around the world to hug your friends, hug your teachers, hug your workmates, your colleagues, hug your family, hug your dog, hug your cat, hug anything you like, just as a symbol of bear hugging to help these bears in China and in Vietnam, so that we can work towards highlighting their plight and really make a difference. If we can just keep getting the word out, if we can just have people thinking about a serious issue through having a little bit of fun with each other, then I think we've made our points.
Yes, I think you are mentioning empathy, which is so important in our relation with other animals. And this is what we are experiencing also here. Work on empathy is very important also in a human relation between humans. But now let's go back to bears, because this is why we are here. And I know you can show us something special from your window.
Let's see if it works. I hope it works. Come with me. I'm going to show you just outside my window. Bronwyn and Pippin, they were just sleeping, but now they've stopped sleeping. They've got their backs to us now.
We can see the big black back of these two bears.
Okay, well, this is just outside my window, and this is at one of our special care areas for bears that need that little bit of extra care and attention. And we have Pippin on the left and Bronwyn on the right. And they've been with us for many years. They're two old ladies of about 30 years of age.
In which condition did they arrive?
They were absolutely appalling. They were in tiny wire cages, one of the worst examples of cage confinement that I've ever seen. In fact, Bronwyn almost had no fur because her immune system had totally crashed, so that she was nearly naked. And Pippin on the left here in the hammock, she actually had been declawed and detoothed. So you can see there maybe, I'm looking at her paw right now, it has no claws because the bear farmer cut the end of her paw away and cut those claws and the ends of her paw tips off. And they also cut the teeth back to gum level as well.
Now they seem very relaxed, and we really hope they forgot the bad times since they are with you. Do bears have psychological problems after you get them free?
That's a really good question. Yes, absolutely, bears have psychological problems. It's not just the physical, it's the psychological too. And, some of our bears are on medication to help with these psychological issues. what we see when they come in from the farms, they are often engaging in chronic stereotypic behaviour. So they're weaving their heads backwards and forwards and banging their heads against the cage bars. One of our bears called Quantock has rubbed not just the fur from his face, but the skin and even the end of his nose completely away on these bars on a bear bile farm. Other bears, they engage in bar biting. So they bite and they chew at the bars to the extent that they shatter and break their own teeth. And in some cases, they have even been known to break their jaws as well. So they just come in what we term as cage crazy. We call them our broken bears, these animals, because again, it's not just the physical consequences, it's what is in their heads as well. And because they're individual like we are, it takes different amounts of time, different amounts of intervention for us to be able to help each and every individual bear.
How do you individuate the bears that you can get free? I mean, what is the process for you to decide to free this bear or that bear? How do you get there?
Well, in China, we have a policy that we will only free bears from farms that have completely closed down. China has not issued licenses since 1992. And so since that time, we will intervene and help close a farm so long as we get all of the bears and as long as we get the original license as well. And then we know at least that that bear farm has closed and China will not allow that farmer to then farm bears moving forward. So in Vietnam, it's a little bit different. Obviously, we're still looking to close entire farms, but sometimes we will do it, piece by piece over a period of months, as we did in Ha Long Bay. We rescued bears, from that area quite gradually. But now I'm very pleased to say that actually not just the whole of Ha Long Bay in Vietnam, but the whole province of Quang Ninh in Vietnam is completely bear bile farm free.
Talking about Vietnam, there was a new, just yesterday, I think, about Chow, a female bear, 13 years old, and she is the last one who got free from Da Nang, Vietnam. And now she is hosted in Tam Dao, your sanctuary in Vietnam. Can you tell us how is she?
Yeah, it was a really fantastic rescue because what we do know is that she was kept by the bile farmer for about 10 years. She was milked of her bile. She had the bile extracted. And when our vet team, our amazing vet team, when they did the ultrasound on her to free her from the cage and put her into one of our recovery cages and bring her back to our centre, what showed up on the ultrasound was that the gallbladder was very badly compromised. It was inflamed, it was thickened, and it also contained a foreign body that we believe was quite a large gallstone as well. So that would be causing her pain. So once she's rested up at our sanctuary for a little while, we'll then do another health check with her, and we may even have to remove that damaged gallbladder at the same time as well. But it's great to get her home. And again, it's because of people like you in Italy that give us the resources and the faith and the support to allow rescues like this to go on. So huge, huge thanks to you all.
So you are working with the politicians to get the farms closed. You are working at the medical level to get the bears safe, and then you're also working at the psychological level with bears to recover after the trauma they got through. How many people are employed in Animals Asia? How many people are working with you?
My goodness, it's gone up to about 300 now. It's mushroomed because I think our campaigns are proving to be so successful in this region. We're extremely proud of the progress that's been made here. In Vietnam, I think we've got about 80 staff. Here in China, I think we've got about 150 staff. And they're very necessary, to not just look after the bears, but to provide sort of the backbone, if you like, of our projects too. Because I think, Camilla, what you said is it's not just the rescue, actually. It's the politics, it's working with celebrities, it's working with academics, with schools, universities, and particularly, too, with the general public and with the traditional medicine community as well. It's very, very important for us in China and Vietnam to be getting the doctors on board to be saying very publicly that they don't need bear bile today, that it can easily be and cheaply be replaced, and that, you know, there are herbs and there are synthetics to do exactly that.
Jill, all this started by you. You started this all this project. How could it be that one person alone? And how did it start? What happened in your life to decide to make such a big project?
I think if any of you listening have a dog or a cat, you will understand, because it was the second that I met a bear on a bile farm in China that everything about my life changed, everything. And that was in 1993. When I walked onto a bear farm, I had a very special and close experience with a bear, where she reached out of the cage and she touched my shoulder. And I saw her paw there, and I just felt compelled to take her paw in my hand, and she didn't hurt me as she should have done. She just squeezed my fingers, and I never saw her again. And what I'm saying now might seem shocking to the people watching this video clip, but I so hope that that bear is dead, because I never saw her again. We couldn't find her, we couldn't rescue her, because the whole farm had moved by the time we tried to go back. And I couldn't bear the fact that all these years later she's still suffering. But we gave her a name. Her name was Hong, for bear. And this one bear, this one individual animal, just began everything that is here in China and Vietnam. And she began the dream of Animals Asia too.
How came that you were in a farm? Why were you there that day?
I was actually working then as a consultant for the International Fund for Animal Welfare, and a journalist friend of mine just called me and said, "Oh my God, Jill, I've just come back from a farm in southern China. You need to go and see this." At the time, I was doing undercover investigations in dog markets, in Chinese medicine markets, all across the Asia continent. And I knew that I would have to see this awful industry of bear bile farming that I admit I knew nothing about. I didn't even know about bears. What did I know about a bear? But I just felt compelled to go along to this place. And from that second, it was a life-changing experience to see these bears in cages, to hear the bear farmer boasting about what he did to these bears, and looking at the obvious misery of these animals in their hell on the bear bile farm. And again, it was such an impactful moment for me that I couldn't go back, and I'm glad I didn't go back, because that's why we rescued nearly 600 bears already in these two countries, and why we love what we do.
So basically, what you're saying is that you already were an activist for animals, and you just met a special story, and you decided to work hard on this special sector. You got specialized in this new adventure, but how can you succeed in a country where the language is so difficult? How could you even think to start in China, where the language? I mean, are you now speaking Chinese a little bit?
I wish. No, I don't. It's appalling. I did try, but oh my goodness, no, I failed. A big fat fail. But I don't know. You know, all those years ago, I was younger, and you're more. You know, you're energetic and you're passionate, and you think you can change the world. I really believed that we could change the world. I was with, my then husband. I was with, who's still our chairman. We're best friends, even though we're not together. I was with a wonderful vet called Gail. I was with Boris, who is still with us as our project director today. In fact, there was 5 of us, and we just believed we could do this. And that's why we started Animals Asia in 1998. And, we just learned. We learned along the way. I think having a vet from the word go was the most important thing. We then brought in someone with legal expertise, Tamara, she's still with us now. We then brought in a finance expert. We brought the experts in so that we could really sort of move very pragmatically and intelligently along our way. And we started learning about bears. We went to every conference, we went to rescue centres, we went everywhere that we could to fill our minds of everything bear. And to be honest with you, we learnt a lot, but actually what we've learned in our own capacity, rescuing bears that are so physically and psychologically broken, as I said, we call them our broken bears, I think we've been able to now turn everything around and become the experts in our field. And I don't use that word lightly. I don't boast about this, but we are unequivocally, I think, the experts in the bear farming industry now today. We've rescued so many bears. We know so much about what goes on in this industry that, I think we are here because we want to see the end once and for all of this disgusting trade, and we want to be here for the end game. It's no use the Chinese government or the Vietnam government saying, yes, we'll close farms now. We have to be here to show what can be done, how we can, in China especially, how we can turn farms into sanctuaries. How can we work with the farmers to maybe turn what was once a very cruel livelihood into something that will benefit them at the end of the day as well. We're here to provide solutions, however unpalatable, however your audience thinks of that. The plain fact of this is that farmers, I think, and the government will not give up this industry unless we can show solutions. And that's why we're here.
Jill, do you think that we should act the same here in Western countries for what concern the farms, the animal farms, because there is a big movement here against farming animals, vegan movement and liberation movement. So, do you think at the end of the story, what we should do is cooperate with farmers and find alternatives, finding a solution? But this is quite difficult because these companies are so big. We are talking about a multinational company.
I mean, I absolutely agree. Look, I'm a vegan now, and this is a journey that we take. I didn't become a vegan overnight. I was a vegetarian for about 20 years, and then I only became a vegan about 3 years ago. And I'm really ashamed that I didn't become a vegan many, many years ago, because I just think that the more you look, the more you explore, the more you can no longer find excuses in your heart for eating meat. If you look at a film, for example, like Earthlings, that's narrated by, world famous celebrity Joaquin Phoenix, it's an incredible indictment on the farming industry today. All the undercover investigations that you see on industrial type farms keep throwing up time and time and time again the reality of how these animals are treated, the reality of the meat that we put in our mouth, that is full of antibiotics, for example, as well, and is causing massive, massive issues of pollution, for example, here in Asia, and of course there in Italy, across the world as well. The way that the intensive farming industry is going is just so egregiously bad for the environment, for our wallets, for animal welfare, of course, as well. So I just, for our health, of course, most of all. And I just think maybe we just have to take a step back, and we have to look at our footprint on this earth, and we have to look at what we want for our children in the future, and the mark that our footprint makes. And, I'm not asking everybody to go vegan overnight. I think, there's a massive movement in the US, for example, where people are eating less meat, maybe having meat-free Mondays, and maybe 1 or 2 days a week are going vegan. And now what we are seeing is that the number of animals in intensive farming practices is reducing because of that one action. And if we can start on the road to progress like that, I just, this is, for goodness sake, not bad for you. It's something that we should be doing that actually creates a healthy body and a healthy environment. And of course, is looking at animals in the way that we should be looking at them, as sentient beings capable of feeling pain, capable of feeling emotions every bit as powerful as our emotions. And there should somewhere in our conscience be that little voice saying we have to stop doing what we're doing and do it differently.
Jill, I think everybody here would like to know something also about the dog meat in China. I think even if you are a specialist in bears and this is your main goal, but I am sure you have been crossing the dog meat industry. At which point is China at with the dog industry?
Very interesting points. Animals Asia, it's actually one of our key campaigns here in China and in Vietnam as well, to end the dog and the cat meat industry. Because what we're finding and what we have found in extensive investigations across the country, this was a 4-year investigation that we carried out, and we have found that nearly 100% of those animals are stolen. They're either stolen from the streets or they're stolen from people's loving family homes. In the early days, when I was working in China in the 80s, I would go along to some of these dog farms and see dogs farmed en masse extensively. Today, that is not happening in China. It's so much easier and cheaper for the traders just to simply steal these dogs, and that's exactly what they're doing for this industry. And obviously, it's a big issue, because when they steal the dogs, very often they are poisoning the dogs. So that toxic meat is entering the food chain. People are taking that meat into their bodies. If they're stealing the dogs from the streets, a lot of these dogs are diseased. So, you've got people eating the meat of dogs that potentially had parvovirus, distemper, leptospirosis, even rabies as well. So this is another big wake-up call to the government here, saying, please listen to the results of these investigations, because it's not just causing the problems of people's health, but it's also causing social disharmony. Even if you don't like dogs, even if you don't care about dogs, you must surely care that people's private property is being stolen, and that private property is entering a black chain of violence and deceit as well.
Do you think toward bears and dogs as well, do you think Chinese are making progresses? Do you see a change in society?
I'm so delighted to say absolute 100% yes. When I started here, there was one group working in China in the 80s, and now there's over 150 groups here in China. There is a passionate movement here. Every single day you can taste it. I mean, you just, it's so difficult to describe, but we've got obviously the internet, we've got the WeChat, the Weibo, the equivalent of Facebook and Twitter here in China, with passionate people that care as much as you do there, your audience in Italy, right there, right now, today. And we have conferences with Animals Asia organising not just the welfare groups, but the officials, the government officials, the police, the media, legal experts coming along to these conferences and talking about all the issues and how we can help solve problems for dogs and cats here in China. It's not just dogs and cats. We're talking about captive animals in zoos and safari parks. We're talking about general animal welfare. So many issues now are coming out in China. So many more people going vegetarian and vegan here as well, on site. Here at our sanctuary, we have 2 meat-free days, for example, every single week, and we're trying to encourage so many other people, like collaborators. We're just doing a fantastic collaboration with a corporate group called Zoo Coffee, Yes, they make their coffee with milk, but they also make their coffee with soy milk. And we're collaborating with them on the soy milk side to get that message out there. Have a healthy coffee with soy milk and help animals while you're doing it as well. So there's lots and lots of things that we're doing here in China that I'm hugely proud of too.
Jill, a couple last questions and then I let you go because I know it's a lot of time for you. I wanted to ask you if this bile extraction industry has something to do with Chinese medicine and or medicine beliefs or medicine traditions. And so I'm thinking maybe there is also something to say about vivisection, about experiments on animals. Which point is China at under this point of view?
That's a really interesting question, Camilla. It's difficult for me to compare the two, but I guess I can in a sense that, you know, like vivisection, there's so much in traditional medicine today that can easily be replaced. And I think, you know, certainly with vivisection, where there's so much testing that isn't shared, that is not shared as well. So obviously is causing so much more animals to suffer because the testing is not shared. I think in Chinese medicine, what we're finding is that, for example, of course, bear bile, it does work. We know it works. We're not disparaging Chinese medicine. We worked with the Minnesota University in the USA in the past, and we know that bear bile contains a very essential acid called UDCA that does remarkable things. But what we do know again is that you don't need bear bile because you can synthesize it in the laboratory for pennies, and it's much, much cleaner too. It doesn't contain the disease that real bear bile contains from these animals under such awful conditions on the farms. So I think, you know, what we should be, and what we are doing with Chinese medicine doctors and doctors in Vietnam as well, is standing up and having these doctors themselves saying, we don't need bear bile today. It can be replaced by 54 different herbal alternatives, by synthetic alternatives, and actually, as doctors, these are people that want to be seen to be in harmony with nature, which is what Chinese and Vietnamese medicine dictates. And keeping bears in tiny wire cages, degrading them, hurting them, killing them, is not in harmony with nature. So let's work more productively, more compassionately with doctors, both here in Chinese medicine and in vivisection as well, to look at the hard reality of how we use animals and how we can stop and phase out that usage over time.
Jill, let's talk a bit about numbers. I have this data, I don't know if it's right. You freed 41 bears in 2015.
Yeah.
And,
in Vietnam.
Sorry?
In Vietnam, yeah.
In Vietnam, sorry. And 33 of these 41 were coming from the same province of Quang Ninh. And in total, you have been getting free 162 bears, including Chow, the last female. And in Vietnam, there are 1,200 bears still prisoners of bile farms. And this means that you are doing a very good job, because 162 on 1,200 is a big part. So in China, you freed 417 bears, but the total number of bears still in cages is 10,000. So the number is much, much big. In order to get these results, you obviously need a lot of resources. May I ask you how much money you spend every year in your activities?
Sure. I mean, this is huge, Camilla, for us. It's my perpetual nightmare and headache because, you know, the point is that every rescued bear is evidence on our surgery table, and the general public, both in China and in Vietnam and across the world, can then comprehend, they can put the pieces together and they can see our bears here that have been compromised so badly by this industry. So the rescue is very important to us to be able to show right at this present day what bear farming does to the bodies, to the physical and the psychological impacts of these bears. So the cost itself runs into millions of US dollars each and every year. Every bear costs us well over 10,000 US dollars a year. Every single bear, one bear, over 10,000 US dollars every year. So that maybe puts that into context about, you know, how much we rely on the help and the support of people like you there in Italy. And, you know, I have to say again and again, we are coming, what I believe, to the end game on this. Bear biofarming is illegal in Vietnam, and bear biofarming is also seen with great shame by the majority of people in China as well. And so, you know, while we are talking with the Chinese government to work towards ending bear biofarming, again, we have the beautiful sanctuary here that can show a solution to that in all its glory. It's a fundamental solution that's not just talk, not just airy-fairy free talk. It's the nuts and bolts, it's the cement, it's the buildings, it's the proof that we can work with bear biofarmers and end bear biofarming. So please don't underestimate where every single penny goes to this campaign. It is allowing bears their dignity, it's allowing them their 30-year lifespan, and I think it's also, perhaps more importantly, creating a very, very dynamic movement of animal activists in both countries that are leading the way towards a more compassionate future, not just for bears, but for so many other animals in these countries.
Jill, my last question. There are many people who would like to visit your sanctuary. Some would like to visit and some would like to come and for a short or longer period to help. Cleaning or office work, whatever. I know there are many people who would like to experience this. Do you have programs in this sense to visit or to help, to volunteer?
Yes, we do. Thank you for asking. Yeah, please just go onto our website, animalsasia.org, and see the variety of volunteer programs that we have and also the open days that we have as well. It's all there. It's all there on the website. The volunteer programs are particularly exciting because up until now, we've only had 3-month programs where we need qualified people. But now in China, we've just opened up a new program that is also completely full for this year. So we're seeing how it goes. And that's where people can come for a week and come on site and help us do observations on the bears, come and help enrich the enclosures, come and work with our bear and our vet team, and just be part of this amazing program to end bear biofarming. So we're full this year, but hopefully if it's a success, it'll start again next year as well. And of course, we've got also, as I said, the open days as well to come on site. So if you join a tour in China, you can do a normal tour, but then you can come and have a day on site with us as well.
Just a second. Di cosa mi sono dimenticata? Okay. I think you gave us all this information. We now feel to know you and your project, Animals Asia, much better. We thank you very much for your time. We thank you very much for your passion and for your work for bears, for all the animals' rights. And yes, I will. I thank you in name of all the people who will see this video. We will put this video. We will translate it and put this video on our website, so many people will see it, hopefully. And thank you very much for your time, Jill. And we will be in contact after the dinner to let you know how can we help you. The little part that we can give to you.
Thank you, Camilla, so much. Again, I can't overemphasize how grateful we are. It means the world. It means literally the world to us. Yeah, I should tell you just quickly, we had one of our most famous bears, Jasper, we had to gently put to sleep this week. And the Facebook is full of it. And we've been crying rivers here, rivers, for losing this bear of a disease that is killing about 35% of our bears, liver cancer. And Jasper lived with us for 15 years. And without the help of people like you, we could not have given Jasper his 15 years in the sunshine. And while we've lost him, I'm just so grateful and so thankful that he had 15 happy years with us. And again, it's because of people like you that we were able to do that. So bless you all. This is a journey for all of us, and you're part of it. And we love you guys in Italy so much for helping us.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Ciao, Jill. Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bless you.